Can't hear your intuition? That's not because you've lost it. It's actually because you're overloaded. Your body is in stress. Your mind is screaming, and your intuition is actually whispering beneath the noise. Most people think that they're broken, and they're not. They think, I don't have intuition, or I just need more clarity. But the truth is, your inner knowing is still there. You've just been conditioned to ignore it. Today, we're clearing the noise. I'm going to show you how to use breathwork and somatic practices to really reconnect with the one voice that actually matters, your own. So let's jump into it. So first, why can't we hear our intuition? Well, it's not that we're actually disconnected. It's that we're often dysregulated. When our nervous system is really caught in fight and flight all the time, the brain isn't actually seeking wisdom. It's seeking security. It's seeking safety. And fear feels like logic. Overthinking something feels like control. And guess what? Most of us are making decisions from trauma, not from truth. Your intuition isn't gone. It's just buried under survival mode. That gut feeling that you ignored, that instinct you overrode, you didn't fail. You were trained. You were trained to trust fear over feeling. And here's the thing. So are our parents. And so are theirs. This has been going on for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Because the simple fact is, when we are in a state of fear, we tend to give our power away. Think about it. As soon as we're worried about not being able to pay our bills, put food on the table, we can't afford rent. I grew up in poverty. So this was a normal thing for me to experience and what I actually thought was normal in the world. And when we're there, we often give our power away to somebody else to fix it. So we start looking for somebody to control rents, to take care of our food prices. And the problem with this is as soon as we start giving our power to somebody, the chances of them wanting to give it back to us are pretty slim. And so what we don't realize is we've given all of this power away for somebody else to take care of us instead of understanding how to take care of ourselves. And so there are, of course, going to be times in our life where it feels like there's not a way to really take care of ourselves. Like we need somebody to give us a hand up. And a hand up is totally okay. There's nothing wrong with any of these things. Like I said, I grew up in poverty. I've been a single mom. I've been bankrupt. I've gone through a lot of stuff in my life. So coming to this place in my life of understanding my own resiliency, my own deep, deep inner strength was a big deal because I didn't have it for a long time. I didn't even know I had intuition. And part of that's also because in today's society, we've downgraded intuition down to imagination. And so a lot of my clients will come in and chat with me and they'll be like, well, I got this kind of feeling, but that's probably ridiculous or I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, not at all. Let's just follow it all the way through. And sure enough, if we follow the nudges, it is exactly the way that it needs to work out. It took me a long time to figure out that those little nudges, the voices, the downloads, for me, I would hear voices or I would wake up with knowings. I started to have really weird experience happen about 7 years ago. And I began this journey of what is my truth? What is my truth? Not what's your truth. What's my truth? It was a difficult thing to really weed through. I would move into certain theologies and I would be like, oh, yeah, that feels right. And then something wouldn't. And it was confusing because it felt like it was an all or nothing situation. And so from a small child, I was taught to check different religions. It was part of my upbringing. And as I got older, I started to look into even further theologies. And now I absolutely love reading on different theologies and finding the thread of truth that seems to be woven into all of them. One of the things that I find the most frustrating is how often in belief systems, whether that is in medicine, whether that's in education, whether it's politics, whether it is religions, how often fear is used as the controlling power, as opposed to love, as opposed to exploration and curiosity. And although I understand how we get there when we're frustrated and we're tired and we're overwhelmed and it feels like, it's the threat even as a parent to a child, do this or else, or if you run across the street, you'll be hit by a car. So we give these big events to try and use fear as a way to get somebody to learn. The problem is fear shuts the mind down. It doesn't actually broaden our awareness. It doesn't open us up like, oh, and we can see the whole picture, see how this is all playing out here. It actually closes us down to only see problems. So it's great right up until we're living this way all the time. So why am I going into all of this? Because every single time we come back into a state of fear, whether it is the climate of our world right now, whether it is within our family, whether it is within our culture or our spiritual belief systems. Every time we come down to fear, we're always contracting, we're always closing. And the problem with that is that our true nature is love. It's light. And when we're in a state of love and of light, we're expansive. At the very center of your heart, there's a spark. It's the first beat of life. Everybody agrees upon it. And from there is the pulse of life that continues to move through. And as we come into this physical body, into this world, things get more confusing. We misunderstand and think that we're the body itself as opposed to the awareness, the light, the information that is exploring this world in this body. And so the confusion begins. And the body itself is fragile. So how can we be anything but scared? This body can die. But the soul, the spirit, the deepest or most expansive self, can't. And because we live in a time where that's not explored in the same way as it used to be, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, where we would explore our expansiveness, we would explore our divine power. And instead, now it's like everything gets smaller and smaller, and it's more and more as if we spend our lives trying to survive. Most people are stuck in survival mode. It was a place I was stuck in for decades. But once I started to question and ask that one question, what's my truth? Things started to open up. Things started to become just a little bit clearer. The right book would all of a sudden show itself. Maybe it'd be recommended, or it would literally fall off a shelf when I was in a bookstore. All of a sudden, asking that question opened me up to an awareness of opportunities. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's just so often we don't see them. And the more that we can come into our intuition, the more we can start to see those opportunities. Our intuition is our inner voice, and that inner voice guides us towards our birthright. And our birthright is actually peace. It's the feeling of, it's the soft smile on the lips. It's the feeling of gratitude, of contentment. That's our birthright. That's what we should be able to experience each day. And it's just that we get caught into all the fears, into all the worries, into all the noise out there, which drags us away from the stillness, the quiet in here. And the more that we can come into here, it's not that the noise goes away, it's that we pull our awareness from it. It's like we take our power back from it. So instead of giving our power to all the other people, making sure everybody else likes us, we bring the power back in and make sure that we like us. It's our job to love ourselves. It's our job to take care of ourselves. And yes, we're tribal beings, but the first person that it's important, the most important person to have the respect of is you. And it's when we go quiet and we start to explore what is my truth, that we start to get the answers that we've been seeking all along. So how do we clear the noise? Well, there's 3 different ways. There's multiple different ways, but there's 3 we're going to talk about today. And so the first one is the breath. I always come back to the breath because it's with us every moment. You don't have to pay for it. You don't need to ask somebody for it. So every one of us has an opportunity to access it and sink into it. And the more that we play with it, the easier it becomes for us to use it to support the nervous system in whichever way we need it to. So if you think of breath work as an opportunity to reset the nervous system, and it can reset it in any way that we need. So the breath is our override, and it tells our body we're safe now. Or at least it tells our body I'm present now. And then from there, we can start to support our intuition to come online. And so there's 3 types of breath, if you break them into categories. One is called your coffee breath. And a coffee breath is a type of breath that would amp your system up, like drinking coffee. Great for the morning, great for before you're about to go for a run, lift weights, do something where we want to keep ourselves super alert. And in that, we place more focus on the inhale. And then there is what's called a water breath. And a water breath can be used all day long. And it just neutralizes the nervous system. And usually the inhale and the exhale are even. So you would have a 4-4 or 3-3, 5-5, whatever it is. You would neutralize the breath by keeping the wave of the breath same. And then we have what's called whiskey breath. And whiskey breath is a breath we would use at night. Think of having a whiskey, just relaxing in the evening. And so it would be an evening breath, or what we would call a relaxation breath. And a whiskey breath, we place more focus on the exhale, lengthening the exhale out. There's different ways that there's different versions of each of these breaths. So the one that we're going to use today is going to be for the nervous system reset. And it's going to be an inhaling through the nose for 4 counts, a pause for 4 counts, and then an exhale for 8 counts. And so it would be more like this. So come to the bottom of your breath now, fully exhale, and then inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale for 4, pause, exhale for 8. And now just pause and notice the shift in your own body. So our breath is one way that we can always reset our nervous system, clearing the noise of that dysregulated nervous system so that we can come back and get quiet to hear the intuition, the whispers. Another thing that we can do is it's a somatic practice, and a way that we can release trapped emotions, trapped energy inside of our body. And if you think of it, you don't think trauma, you store trauma, and we store it in ourselves. So fear, suppression, shame, they all live in the body until we can move it out. And so some of the ways that we can do this is by shaking. So that can be like full body jumping, shaking can really help get rid of that. Stretching. So this is where yoga comes in. Qigong, yin yoga. Yin yoga is from Taoist as opposed to using sects of Hinduism yoga, like the hatha of shapes. So any of those, though, the point of them is that they are moving energy through the system as well as lengthening the lines in your body, so the fascia, the muscles, to open them up and release things that are trapped or stored. And so that's why when people are doing deep stretching exercises or doing forms of yoga movement, all of a sudden they can have big emotions start to come up. And this is why, is because we're opening and creating a space and a softness to be able to allow that to release out. Sighing. So is another way, and it's a natural way. So again, it's a breath practice, but it's a natural way that the breath triggers and signals to the nervous system we can let something go. And then movement. And so for a lot of people, they will find running or some form of cardiovascular movement as a way to move emotions, move energy through the system. And so those are all ways that we can do this. And it's not about looking graceful, it's about getting free. So whatever these look like. And within movement would also be like dancing. And dancing is a phenomenal way to move energy through the body. So remember, we can't hear our truth over the noise that you refuse to release. So it's important that we really release these energies so that we can get back into ourselves. And then the third way is grounding. And grounding really brings us back home. So our truth doesn't live, in the scroll, the list, or the outside opinions. It lives in our body. And so pressing our feet into the floor, placing a hand on our heart and maybe one on our abdomen, and then asking, what do I need to know right now? And then listening to what's there. And so we close our eyes and we just come back into our body, feeling the soles of our feet. If we're seated, maybe feeling into the buttocks, into the back of the thighs, feeling the breath moving into our hands as we breathe into our bodies. And then that question, what do I need to know right now? And giving ourselves the space, the opportunity to listen to that. And so let's take a moment and do this together and just drop in. Let's try and clear a little bit of static. So maybe you rub your hands together, activating the left and right hemisphere of the brain, activating the left and right meridians of the heart and the pericardium. And then taking that right hand to your heart and the left hand to your abdomen. With your eyes closed, bringing all of your awareness inward. And inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Pause for 4. Exhale for 8. And then just ask yourself, if I trusted myself fully, what would I do next? And whatever arises, that's the voice. That's the truth. And just feel into that and notice what's there for you. And the more that you come back into these practices, these opportunities to clear the static, clear the noise, to come back into the intimacy of your own relationship, the clearer and easier it'll become to hear that voice, to trust and connect in to your own inner knowings. So I want you to remember, you don't need another opinion. You need your own inner authority. And let's build this together. My podcast, Sovereignty Rising, drops today. So if you're watching this today, April 18th, then you can check out our new podcast. I'm super excited about it. We'll have 4 episodes there for you today that you can check out, and it'll be dropping every Friday. You can subscribe now for grounded spiritual conversations, breath-led healing, and intuitive power. Subscribe here on YouTube for weekly truth, practice, and embodiment. And join us in the Awakening Circle, the only space where you never have to really shrink to be seen. So you can check that out on Facebook. And drop a trusting myself in the comments if this landed for you. If this video hit your heart, like it, share it, and hit that subscribe button. You're not broken and you're not lost. You're waking up. And that changes everything. The world has been waiting for you. Your intuition is still speaking. It's time to get quiet enough to hear it. Until next time, brightest of blessings.